Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Hollywood Rack's CrossTrack bike rack for one bike and see how it works and how it fits on our 2024 Nissan Rogue. Now, a hitch bike rack is an excellent way to transport your bike to and from the trail. A lot of people prefer this method from the hitch rather than having a bike rack up on the roof. That can make it difficult to get it up and down from there, especially if you have one of those heavier e-bikes that's on the market now. The way that the CrossTrack is going to work is that it's going to be wheel mounted, meaning you're only going to have contact through the wheels on it. It won't be a frame mount, so this will be safe for any of your custom paint jobs or carbon fiber frames. These braces are going to ratchet up tight against each other and pin the bike in together, making it solid and sturdy back here on our bike rack. Now, as far as the types of bikes that the CrossTrack can accommodate, it can accommodate bikes weighing up to 66 pounds, so it is going to accommodate a lot of those e-bikes that are out there on the market. It'll accommodate wheel diameters from 20 to 29 inches, wheelbases up to 52 inches, and tires up to 4 inches wide. It's going to fit into your 2x2 inch hitch, and it's going to come with an included cable lock to keep it secure to the rack. Now, as far as how it fits on the Rogue, one of the first things I always look at is how close is it carrying the bike to the back of my vehicle. I want to know that because while, in a park position it's just fine, but if we get it out on some rougher terrain or a rougher road, am I really going to be in any danger of any contact with the back of the vehicle? And in this case, it's not really coming anywhere close. So I feel pretty good about it out on the road, whether I'm going down a paved road, a gravel road, or something a little more rocky. Now, one of the things about a platform bike rack off the hitch like this is you are going to lose a little bit of visibility in the back. So for instance, with the bike we have on here today, we're going to be able to see the seat and the handlebars through our rear window. We are going to have a little bit of obstruction on our taillights for the other drivers out there. And we're going to have some partial obstruction of our license plate and our rear view camera. So because of that rear view camera obstruction, it's really important to understand what kind of footprint this is leaving behind our bumper. And in this case, the rack is going to come to 20 3/4 inches out. So that's not terribly far out, but you do want to keep that in mind when you're backing into a tight space or trying to parallel park. The other thing we're going to take a look at is ground clearance. So from the furthest point on the rack out here, we're going to be just under 15 inches. And because of how close this is to the bumper, I'm not terribly worried about some of those sharper inclines or driveways you might come across, but you do definitely want to keep it in mind. Now, it also mentioned that there is a 66-pound weight capacity to the CrossTrack. And, if you do have a heavier bike, it's a good idea to understand just how high you'd need to lift that in order to get it into the tray. And in this case, you're going to want to be able to lift it about 18.5 inches to get it up on the bike rack with the Rogue. So if that seems a bit daunting for you, there is a ramp available that you could use with the CrossTrack to assist you in getting those heavier bikes up and down off of the rack. Now, the bike that we have on our rack today is a small frame, but it has some wider handlebars at 14.5 inches, and it has some pretty big tires. The diameter from edge of tire to edge of tire on this is about 29 inches. So just bear that in mind, because one of the most common questions that we get when it comes to a hitch bike rack is, will I have access to the cargo area of my vehicle? And in the case of the CrossTrack and the Rogue, we will. What I'm going to do is brace the bike. I'm going to pull back on this little lever that's underneath here, and I'm going to slowly tilt the bike away from the back of the vehicle. At this point, I'm going to open my hatch. And the reason I gave those bike dimensions is because this clears by maybe half inch, 3/4 of an inch as far as the edge of our handlebars. But with a bike this size or smaller, you are going to be able to get in and out of your cargo area really easily. So now, while the bike is on the rack, I could, change out my shoes, equipment, grab my helmet, extra water, whatever it may be. Or maybe I'm on the way back from the trail and I just want to stop at the grocery store and pick up a few things. Now I don't have to unload the bike just to get into my cargo area, and it just makes everything that much simpler. And in order to get the bike back up into its riding position, I don't need to engage the handle. I just need to lift up against it until we get that click, and now we're ready to get back on the road. So loading and unloading your bike is a fairly simple process with the CrossTrack. They do make a lot of the functioning points on this very, very visible. For instance, the button that holds on our braces is in a bright red, as well as the attachment for our ramp on either end of the rack. But if I'm going to take the bike off, all I'm going to simply do is depress this button. It's going to release this in the back while the front wheel is still completely braced. I'm going to clear this all the way down. And if you're using the ramp, you do need to clear it all the way out of the way like this so you can attach the ramp and let it go out. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and depress the front wheel button. I'm going to slide that a little bit out of the way there, from there. And now I'm able to remove the bike, and whether I'm storing it away in the garage before driving off without it or hitting the trail, we are good to go. Now, just to kind of show that ratcheting effect when you put the bike on that I had mentioned earlier, as this moves up with the bike on, you're just going to kind of sandwich those wheels in between it and brace it onto the rack itself. Now, this is a powder-coated steel. It's not terribly heavy at about 40 pounds, but still, if you're riding pretty frequently, it's not something you're going to want to load and unload from the hitch every time you want to go out for a bike ride. This does have a stowaway position for you, and to use that, we're going to engage this lever again, bring it all the way up, and it'll be flat up against the vehicle. But the CrossTrack has another effect to it, because while it's in this upright position, we got a good chance of hitting this mast when we open our lift gate. There is kind of a 3/4 position here that when we don't have a bike on it, it's going to give us the clearance to get this lift gate open without any kind of issue at all. So, which is really nice, because there are a lot of platform racks like this that won't allow this to happen. What you will have to do is, even if a bike's not on it, you're going to have to deploy it all the way down in order to get in and out of your lift gate. This way, you don't have to do that at all. And everything is operated right through this handle here on the side. We'll get it right back into its upright position. And with it in the stowed position, we're obviously going to reduce that footprint we're leaving behind our bumper. And it's going to knock it down to just under 9 inches. So you still have that little bit extra here that you have to accommodate for, but as you can see, we regained a ton of visibility through the back. We don't have anything blocking our rear window, our taillights, our license plate. Even our rear view camera is going to have a good full view out of the back, but we do want to just be conscious that there is an extra 9 inches back here, again, for those tighter spaces or for parallel parking. So in my opinion, the CrossTrack is an excellent single bike hitch bike rack for you and your Rogue. It has great spacing in here. It does leave some good room, although it can get a little bit tight depending on the size of your bike going through the lift gate. But when it's folded up in this position, especially if you're a frequent rider who doesn't really like to remove this in and out of the hitch all the time, we regain a ton of visibility, and it's very close to being something that almost isn't there. But if you decide that the CrossTrack for a single bike is the right bike rack for you and your 2024 Nissan Rogue, and you get it, you install it, you use it a few times, please share with us what you think about it in the comments below. We would love to share your story with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, this is Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.